Hello, and welcome to your first video for Unit 1. This unit is called Foundations and Formations of Government. We're going to be looking at what government is, how it came to be, and why we need it. So whenever we get to an essential question slide like this, you never need to write it down. These are just some guiding questions that are going to help us as we move through the unit. So, like I said, we're going to figure out what is government and why we need it. We're going to figure out how different types and systems of government operate. We're going to look at the Enlightenment a little bit and figure out how that helped shape American government. We're going to look at some old documents like the Mayflower Compact and figure out how that shaped American government and how we got a lot of ideas from Great Britain when we were creating our government. All right, so starting off with what is government and why do we need it? We're going to look at first the four purposes of government. And in class, we talked about these as the four common characteristics of government. So every government is going to have these same things, okay? Their main job is to maintain order. Okay, so one of the things that we need government for is to maintain a sense of order. If there was no law and there was no order, we would be running around like crazy people, right? So we've got to have that sense of order. They also provide protection. So our government provides protection for us militarily, so they protect our borders. They also provide protection for us at a state level and a local level through our law enforcement agencies. Our government provides public services for us. So a public service, think of it like this, is something that a citizen or a group of citizens can't really do for themselves, okay? So in class, I mentioned fixing potholes, okay? Public services are going to be things like road maintenance and infrastructure maintenance, okay? Things that your tax dollars go to support is going to be a public service. So something like the military, could be public schools where you are right now. That's an example of a public service, okay? And they also are responsible for maintaining the economy, okay? So in this specific instance, we're talking about the government maintaining like the money supply, okay? So we have a currency, our money that's used all around the United States. That's something that the government is responsible for setting up and making sure is consistent. We also have four different ideas, four different theories on how government came to be. So like if we think all the way back at the beginning of time, how did government just pop up? Okay, so there's four different ideas that people have about where government came from. The first one's called the evolutionary theory, and this is not the evolutionary theory of science, okay? So we, in this instance, are talking about how government or a government system may have evolved or came from family, okay? So if you think about your family, think about maybe someone who is responsible for you, for providing these things for you. That would be the evolutionary idea, okay? Next, we have the force theory, and this theory tells us that government emerged when one group of people took over another. Okay, so when one group took over another group, government emerged. We also have the divine right theory, which was very popular in Europe prior to the Enlightenment, also in Native American tribes as well. But the divine right theory tells us that I am in charge, if I'm the king or queen, because I have been given the authority to do so by God or by a deity or something like that. And the last one is the social contract theory. And this one tells us that government emerged because people realized that they needed to be protected, that their rights needed to be protected. Okay, so the idea here is that I give up some of my unlimited freedoms as a person in order to gain protection from everybody else. Okay, and with that, I'm going to stop. If you have any questions, let